Have you ever seen an ad and thought, wow, that feels like it was made just for me? Or maybe you've wondered why one specific store stocks that spicy snack you love, but you can't find it anywhere else. Well, that's not a coincidence. It's a very deliberate strategy. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down how companies go from yelling at a huge, faceless crowd to talking directly to you. So, let's get right into it.
I mean, think about it for a second. Why doesn't a car company just build one single car for everybody? You know, one model that a college kid, a CEO, and a family of 5 would all line up to buy. It sounds super efficient, right? But in the real world, that's a total fantasy.
Take the Honda Fit, for example. Honda knew this car wasn't for the person buying a luxury sedan or someone who needs to haul 2x4s. No, they zeroed in on millennials. They were thinking about people who were navigating a whole bunch of firsts. Their first real job, their first apartment, and of course, the need for a first car that's reliable, affordable, and can somehow fit an entire bookshelf in the back.
And that right there is the crucial point. Any company that tries to create a product and a marketing message that pleases absolutely everyone, well, they often end up pleasing no one. Their message just becomes beige, their product doesn't really stand for anything, and they completely get lost in the noise. So, how do they get focused?
They do it by using a really powerful strategy called market segmentation. You can think of it as marketing's version of divide and conquer. So instead of just shouting into a giant stadium and hoping anyone listens, it's about finding the right small groups in the stands and starting a real conversation.
So what does that actually mean in plain English? It's really just the process of taking one giant, messy, complicated market and breaking it down into smaller, much neater groups. The whole idea is to find these little clusters of people who are probably going to react to the same product or the same message in a very similar way. Okay, the absolute easiest way to picture this is to imagine dumping a huge bag of assorted Halloween candy on your kitchen table. You've got chocolates, sour gummies, hard candies, licorice, the whole shebang. You wouldn't just treat it all as candy. You'd naturally start sorting it into piles, right? The chocolate pile, the chewy pile. That is exactly what market segmentation is.
So how do these marketers actually sort all that candy? Well, they generally rely on 4 main methods to slice up the market pie. Let's break them down, one by one.
First up is the most straightforward of the bunch, geographic segmentation. And it's all about one thing: location, location, location.
This means a company might target entire countries, or maybe just states in the Sun Belt, or they could get super granular and focus on a single neighborhood or even a city block. The basic idea here is that people who live in the same area often have similar needs and wants.
And here's a perfect real-world example. Clorox noticed that its Hispanic customers in certain areas often prefer different scents for their cleaning products. So what did they do? They didn't just slap on a new label, they created an entirely new product line called Fragancia, with scents like lavender and fresh petals that were specifically tailored to those regional and cultural tastes. Smart.
All right. Method number 2 is probably the one you're most familiar with: demographics. This is all about sorting people by the basic statistical facts of their lives. This is the stuff that tells a company who you are in black and white terms: your age, your gender, if you're married and have kids, how much money you make, what you do for a living. It's so popular because, frankly, it's often the easiest data to get, and it's usually tied directly to what we need and what we can actually afford. Gillette's Venus razor is a classic, textbook example of the power of demographics. For decades, razors were pretty much just marketed to men. Gillette looked at that and saw that, hey, half the population was a completely untapped segment. But they didn't just make a pink version of a men's razor. No way. They built an entire brand, Venus, with its own designs, its own packaging, and its own ads, all aimed squarely at the female demographic.
Okay, let's move on to our third method. And this is where things start to get a little deeper. If demographics tell you who someone is, psychographics are all about why they buy. It's about their mindset.
And this is where it gets really interesting. See, you could have 2 people with the exact same demographic profile, same age, same income, live in the same neighborhood, but one is a total homebody who values security and comfort, while the other is an adrenaline junkie who craves adventure. They have wildly different psychographic profiles, and they're going to buy very, very different things. A business like an indoor rock climbing gym is a perfect example of this. They aren't just selling you access to a wall with some plastic holds on it. No, they are targeting a very specific lifestyle. Their ideal customer is someone who sees themselves as adventurous,
who thinks of fitness as a fun activity and who wants to be part of a community that shares those same values.
And that brings us to our fourth and final method, behavioral segmentation. This one isn't about where you live or who you are or even how you think. It's all about what you actually do.
So this method looks at your actual relationship with a product. Are you a super loyal user, or did you just try it for the first time? Do you only buy it around the holidays? What's the main benefit you're really looking for when you buy it? Is it convenience, status, savings? This approach groups people based on how they act as consumers.
You want to see a masterclass in this? Look no further than the greeting card industry. It is built almost entirely on one type of behavioral segmentation, occasions. Just think about it. There are cards for birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, new babies, getting well, sympathy, congratulations. They have created a product for literally any occasion you can imagine that might make you buy a card.
Okay, so a company has done all the work. They've sorted that giant bag of candy into neat little piles. They've identified their market segments. But here's the thing, they can't go after all of them. So the next crucial step is deciding which of those piles, which slice of the pie, offers the best opportunity.
And this brings us to a really key distinction. You have segmentation and you have targeting. Think of it this way. Segmentation is the analysis. It's drawing the map of the entire market landscape. Targeting, on the other hand, is the strategic choice. It's picking the spot on that map where you're going to plant your flag.
Now, companies don't just pick these targets out of a hat. They run each potential group through a sort of checklist, asking some really important questions. Things like, can we actually measure how big this group is? Can we reach these people with our marketing? Is the group big enough to actually be profitable? Is it truly different from the other groups? And finally, can we as a company realistically do a great job serving them?
So if there's one big takeaway from all this, it's that good segmentation isn't about excluding people or putting up walls. It's actually about focusing your energy. It's about understanding one specific group so deeply that your product and your message feel like they were tailor-made just for them. And that is how you build a much stronger, more genuine connection. From now on, the next time you see an ad, whether it's for a pickup truck, a luxury watch, or even a brand of yogurt, you'll have the playbook. You can start to deconstruct it. Who are they really talking to? Are they using geography, demographics, lifestyle, behavior? Once you start to see the strategy behind it all, I promise you will never look at marketing the same way again.